coffee friends from around the world. My name is Luiz Saldanha. I am an agronomical engineer, specialist on specialty coffee production, and I'm here today to talk to you about the autumn season and its impacts on coffee physiology and crop management. The autumn season in the South Hemisphere begins around March 21st with the autumn equinox, when the sun radiation incidation is perpendicular to the equator line, and will extend until around June 21st with the winter solstice, when the sun radiation is going to be incident perpendicular to the Tropic of Cancer. The autumn is characterized by the decreasing of the day's duration, the increasing of the nights, the decrease of the sun radiation and insolation, the decrease of maximum and minimum temperature, and the increase of the thermic range. Also, we are going to have a dramatic decrease in the precipitation, in the rainfalls. It's very important that coffee farmers apply all the best agronomical techniques during spring and summer, so the coffee culture is going to have a really good leaf area and is going to be vigorous for the autumn season, aiming to the best development and ripening of the coffee fruits. After the flowering period and the beginning of the bean expansion during the spring and the rapid expansion phase during the summer, the autumn is going to coincide with the end of the bean filling phase. That may take between 120 to 200 days after the flowering period, according to the genetic material and the environmental conditions of the ecosystem where it's growing. The occurrence of periods of biotic or abiotic stresses to the culture, like drought, excessive temperature, attack of plagues and diseases, or even nutritional problems, may cause the reduction of the quality potential of the beans for the future crop. The maturation period that's going to occur during the autumn and the beginning of the winter and may take up to 70 days according to the genetic material and the environmental conditions, starts after the seeds have their maximum dry matter accumulation and also their maximum germinative potential achieved. The maturation trigger is the increase of the ethylene production by the plant. The ethylene is a phytohormone that's going to be responsible for the improvement in the cell respiration and will result in a lot of energy necessary for all the biological, chemical, and morphological changes that will characterize this phase. It's a spectacle of the nature in terms of colors, flavors, aroma, and textures, preparing the fruit for the dispersion of the species. The monotonous green from the previous phase that was really useful to help on photosynthesis and also hide the beans between the leaves is going to be replaced by astonishing different colors from red, orange, yellow, pink, or even wine according to the genetic material. These changes are going to be caused by the degradation of the chlorophyll and the accumulation of anthocyanin and carotenoids according to the genetic material final color. The rigid pericarp from the spring and summer will start to be softened by the partial or total degradation of the celluloses and hemicelluloses from the cell walls. At the same time that a big accumulation of soluble solids, different reducing sugars, sucroses, organic acids is being made in the pericarp and also in the seeds. Different volatile organic compounds are being produced and stored, and these ones are also going to be able to intensify and improve the beautiful qualities of the Arabica coffee in the final cup. One more time, it's important to remind that the foliar area of the crop is really important, as the leaves are going to be the ones responsible for synthesizing these organic compounds that then will be translocated to the pericarp into the endosperm or the seed. For example, from the beginning of the maturation, when we have the bigger accumulation of quinic acid, we are going to see in the end of the maturation a much higher concentration of malic and citric acids in the seeds. Talking about sugar accumulation during the ripening period, we are going to see a bigger accumulation of glucoses and fructoses in the beginning of the period, and a much bigger accumulation of sucroses in the end of the ripening period, preparing the fruit for the harvest. It's important to emphasize that after the full ripening of the cherries, if the fruits keep attached to the plant, even if the fruit as a whole may present an increase in its dry matter, the seeds by themselves are going to present a decrease of its dry matter. First, because they're not receiving photoassimilates anymore, and second, because they are alive and they will use part of the reserves for their own metabolism. For achieving the highest quality potential of the cherries or the raw material for a crop, it's important to understand that each genetic material, according to the environment that it's growing, will have different necessities of substrate or producing factors and a specific time necessary for all these complex reactions to occur. We know nowadays by science that the highest accumulation of the sugars and the compounds that are related with quality, and also the production of the volatile organic molecules, are going to occur in the end of the ripening period. And for that, the plants need to have all the best conditions in order they may express their potential. From the point of view of the phytosanitary management of the crop, the final result that we aim to achieve are healthy cherries. For that, coffee farmers need to have in mind that an integrated management of plagues and diseases program need to be in place. So, avoiding the coffee border, avoiding the fruit fly, mites, or even coffee leaf rust or the Cercospora attack, it's fundamental to preserve the quality of the cherries in order they may achieve the final maturation period in the right time. Farmers also need to take a big care in order to avoid using products that may be harmful for the natural microbiome and preserve the potential of the field. Another key aspect from the crop management looking for quality potential is the nutritional program that needs to be really well balanced according to the plant's needs. Different nutrients have fundamental role on the quality. For example, the nitrogen that is responsible for the vegetative growth of the plant and the formation of several enzymes, if in excess, may allow free amino acids to be present in the leaves that are going to be used by microorganisms that are not good for the quality. In the other side, if nitrogen is not enough, we are going to decrease the leafy area of the plant, and we are also not be able to do all the necessary photosynthesis to fill the beans and take the maturation to the end. For a really good and balanced nitrogen nutrition for the plant, it's really important to understand the relation between nitrogen and calcium, as calcium is going to be involved on producing the cell walls and are going to decrease the free amino acids in the leaves. The calcium is really also necessary together with boron in order to make the plasticity of the outside skin of the coffee cherry. So in case of rains during the harvest, this elasticity of the outside skin of the coffee cherry is going to be really useful to avoid the cherries dropping in the soil and also the attack of microorganisms that are going to be responsible for undesirable fermentation processes. The boron, not only for the elasticity of the cell walls, is really important together with copper, for example, because together they have a big role on the polyphenoxidase enzyme that's going to be responsible for the degradation of polyphenols inside the seeds. And they are going direct correlated with quality potential in the cup. Finally, but not less important, we need to consider potassium, that is responsible for the sugars translocations for the seeds, and also the magnesium that has its role studied in several different crops and the correlation with quality. These two need to be in balance with also calcium, so the relation between calcium, magnesium and potassium. And we need to have in mind when setting up a nutritional program that the potassium has a huge correlation with organic matter sources. For example, the coffee pulp, the coffee rusk, organic compounds, and also the mulching that we have in the soil according to the cover crops that we use with coffee. Talking about weeds and intercrop management, as autumn presents the reduction of temperature, sun radiation, and also rainfall, it's important to have the management to reduce the competition between the intercrops and the coffee trees. So the coffee trees may better explore all the nutrients and water from the system, even the light, and may assure the right ripening period for the cherries. As the end of the autumn season marks the beginning of the harvest in most of the Brazilian producing regions, it is a time of a lot of investments in planning for the new crop. The first thing to be done is an estimative of the amount of coffee that's going to be harvested in each farm. Second, we need to check if all the infrastructure, machinery, people, and equipment are really well dimensioned, are clean, and everything is ordered for the beginning of the crop. Third, we need to understand how important training the people because of the complexity of each operation from harvest, processing, drying, storaging, and dry milling the coffee as the quality control are for improving and assuring the quality of the final cup. Finally, for a good harvest prediction, it's necessary to check the interactions of the varieties and the microclimates inside each farm. So tests may be done with sampling the first cherries and seeing the best interactions between the genetics, the microclimate, and the different kind of processings to see what is the highest quality potential for each area. However, we always need to have in mind that coffee is a biological product, that each agronomical year is completely different from the previous one, that coffee as a fruit will probably have its maximum quality potential when harvested as a ripe cherry, that 30 wave gives farmers great possibilities with different kind of processing techniques, flavor profiles, and processing profiles for different markets, giving farmers a big chance to engage with these differentiated markets. As a final recommendation, each one of us from the specialty coffee chain need to understand the complexity of each and all steps from seed to cup and how important they are to be taken in details for assuring the final highest quality potential for consumers around the world. Dear friends, the autumn season is really important for the quality potential definition for the new crop. Let's all have these tips in our minds so together we may share the sweet fruits of a specialty and sustainable coffee chain. Thank you very much for your attention. A big hug, and I wish to share with you the new samples for this beautiful new crop as soon as possible. Please keep safe, and I wish to see you very soon.